Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. And the markets are ripping today on the back of CPI. And Gareth Soloway is going to go over that in the game plan in about 15 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and go over some RSI plays that I saw yesterday that could be potential for setups today. And then I'm going to go through a couple altcoins in the crypto space, because I know that a lot of you guys like the crypto markets. So let's go over Apple trade yesterday. I noticed the day before on Friday, there was really good bullish sentiment in that thing based on the daily RSI. However, it didn't pop enough for us to enter our trade. And so unfortunately, that was not an opportunity for us to have our RSI trade of the day trigger. However, had a good fall. And let's actually go ahead and go over that recap. So here we have the chart of Apple, and I mentioned earlier that I was noticing that the RSI on Friday had stayed really high. So on the 8th, and then all of a sudden you had this nice sell-off yesterday. You got to pop pre-market, and then a nice sell-off, and it continued fall. And so from the day, it was a 5% or a $5 pullback from that level. It did pop up a little bit more, but it never got to our targeted area. Never gave us the same signal as far as the RSI strength, but I still like this level. So if you guys are still interested in Apple, you're going to have some resistance right here at $235.54. And then you've got this really big gap fill at $239.07. So I still like this as a shorting opportunity if it gets into those two levels. Now with this, the RSI is now above 70 on the daily. So what I'm looking for is I want like a little bit more of a push up into some more resistance. And then this could be more of a swing trade. And so you could take 7 to 10%. I do anticipate it coming back if you can get up to this gap fill, probably back to this $225 level, $224. So that'd be a 6.5% movement. And the reason I wouldn't be looking for a whole lot more than that, I said about 10 to 15%, is because look at this price movement. When you get this price consolidation right here, you get about a 6% pullback. And so that's what I would be looking for on Apple. Okay, you guys, now let's take a look at Soundhound. Soundhound yesterday gave me some really good bullish RSI sentiment. So it got up to 70, had a little bit of a pullback, a decent pullback. It was like a 3 to 5% pullback from the highs. But look at this price consolidation. If you zoom in, there's not a lot of movement, although it doesn't look like, I mean, it was a 5% move and then this steady float up. Once it got above this support level, I mean, this resistance level, that became support. And you can see it held the support throughout the entire day. I'll show you what the support level is on Soundhound. So that is the pivot top right here at 1543. So Soundhound, if it gets up to 1659, that's not far enough away for me to be really interested, but $17.65 and $17.89, those are some really good resistance levels, and I anticipate it heading up a little bit higher. All right, now let's go into e.l.f. e.l.f. was another one yesterday that it stayed high on the relative strength index until the end of the day. Unfortunately, this is something that I was anticipating going into today and saying, all right, so e.l.f. is a great opportunity because look at this price action, look at this RSI action. This is great for the bulls. However, it had a really big sell-off, and then look at this drop. Every once in a while, if you have these charts that stay elevated throughout the rest of the day and you keep getting this pierce of the 70, then eventually you could have a sell-off. So sometimes it's really hard to determine whether it's going to happen that specific day or if it's going to happen the following day. So Soundhound hasn't really done that yet, but e.l.f. at the end of the day. So if you time this correctly and you monitor the relative strength index throughout the rest of throughout the entire day, come around 3 o'clock and you get a peak, that means all the buyers are trying to rush into that. And then all of a sudden it gives an opportunity for volume and liquidity to get to flush the stock down. And that's what happened on e.l.f. So it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the following day. But again, if you're watching this and you have good price action and good relative strength index movement, then you can expect either that same day or the following day for a potential pullback. All right, okay, let's go ahead and go in Ethereum. Ethereum has been so strong. The thing I like about Ethereum is look at this down move on Ethereum. You had about a 15% pullback from the highs here, negative RSI divergence. So what am I looking for in Ethereum? So I am short with an ETF on Ethereum because of its negative RSI divergence. Now, what you're looking for is a possible add level, which here's the 886 at 44.13. What I would be looking for is a possibility of going up to 4,800 bucks. So you're going to look for this, a pierce of $4,800. That could be a good add level if you're already short, or that could be a great take profit. So what often happens, let me go ahead and get rid of this. What often happens, it'll take this all the way up to $4,800, and then it'll pierce that level, maybe get close to the 5,000, and then you're going to have this pretty big sell-off. What the relative strength index does, in addition to the price movement, it gives us an idea that there are still buyers and sellers. And anytime that you're looking to trade something, you actually want that. You need that in order for you to get some capitulatory volume and movement. Without that price action or movement, then it stays bullish, and you know that there aren't necessarily any profit takers yet. There's no fear in that particular stock, or in this case, Ethereum, which is an altcoin. So keep in mind that that's what we're looking for. And so I still see Ethereum as a great potential setup for a shorting opportunity for a swing trade. All right. So let's go ahead and get into Zora. Zora, I did trade this yesterday in the trading room. We went live. Look at this. I give this target. This is what I look for. Okay. Price consolidation, price movement. Let me go ahead and get rid of this line. So you get this price movement right here. And then you had this peak. I ended up getting into this trade here at 1440 because you had this pivot top. You had this big spike in the RSI, big spikes in the price action. And then we took it all the way down to 1354. So it gave about a 5% pullback. I did have an add level at 1507, but this gives you an idea. Okay, so we've got movement in the price and then movement in the relative strength index. You got this big spike here on the relative strength index, got up to 83, and then this nice pullback. You've also got these upsloping trend lines that happened to break as well. And so they give me further confidence that there was going to be a sell-off in ZORAUSD. All right, now let's go ahead and go into Monday, MNDY. They did have earnings, and usually I like to play earnings 3 to 5 days afterwards. But this Monday had a lot of selling pressure yesterday. So on the back of earnings, you had this nice dip on the RSI, and it never got above 70. It tried to regain the 70 to institute a bullish sentiment in this stock, push it higher. However, it just kept getting hammered down lower and lower. And then all of a sudden, you got this big spike towards the end of the day on the downside, and then this nice reversal. It did pierce it again, created this nice bullish RSI divergence, and then look at what's happening with Monday today. So I do still see a potential for this to go down to around $170 just because the RSI stayed so weak for so long. I expect to flush out, and then you could get a potential bounce, probably back up to $185, $190 on MNDY. All right, I got a couple more real quick. Chainlink, kind of similar price action to what's going on with Ethereum. So if you guys are looking to take profits, you might want to wait until this $25 level on Chainlink. It's going to get into a nice resistance area. And then the relative strength index, as you can see, we're starting to put in some negative RSI divergence. And then other thing you got to look for is, okay, so it's about a 20% move to the downside, 40% move to the upside. That's great RSI action, price action, good RSI action. It respected the 40, good bounce. Now we expect an additional pullback. Look for another pullback to about the 40 on the RSI. You probably get back in around 1797. You got this pivot high right here, and that could be a good potential play. Now, it could still continue to run up because altcoins can really move. They can make extended moves so that the selling doesn't really work as well in the altcoin markets. So you want to look for full extensions, unless it's oversold for a long time, and then you could look for the 30. But overall, the Chainlink still looks pretty bullish to me. You want another pierce of that 70 all the way up, and make sure that it doesn't take out that pivot high on the relative strength index when price action continues to move higher. All right. So again, 25.16 would be a level that I would look to take profits and potentially swing short for about 15 to 20%. And that's usually what you look for. All right. Cronos, I'm going to go over this real quick. You've got a price target upside of 19,724. You got this pivot high right here. That's where I would be interested in taking a short on Cronos. Look at this overextension to the upside. You got this good price action to the upside, but not a whole lot of price action or movement in the relative strength index, creating this negative RSI divergence. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to wait and see what the close is today. And if it's a green bar candle that's getting close to this 19,724 level, that could be a great place for a potential short swing trade. And you can get a nice 15 to 20% pullback. See, look at this. You get 18% pullback with a 30 to 40% move to the upside. That's good price action, and that's good relative strength index action. And so that's what I would be looking at. Okay, so let's go back to Soundhound. Soundhound is my trade of the day. All right, we're going to enter Soundhound today at 1765 with one ad level. It's $17.98. This is my short of the day. 1765 and then an ad at 1798. If you guys want to be more conservative and wait for this gap fill at 1798 from the current pre-market price, that's only about a 15% move to the upside, but that is a potential opportunity for us to go short. And so I want to take advantage of that because I do anticipate a 6 or so percent pullback in the price of Soundhound, especially with this huge move to the upside. Look at this, 40 or 50% in 2 days. This would be a 70% move to the upside. Relative strength index on the daily is headed higher as well. Good RSI action, good price movement, and then the intraday from yesterday. So that's my trade of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys staying tuned. And thanks for the comment on requesting a couple more altcoins in the mix, because that has good opportunities for us to take a look at the relative strength index as well as the price action. So if you guys like what you guys are seeing, every day I go live at 8:45 in the morning, anytime the market is open. And please hit the like and subscribe, ring that bell so you can get notified when this show goes live. And please stay tuned. Gareth is going to have a jam-packed show for you guys today at 9 o'clock. So stay tuned. He'll be live with you guys in less than 2 minutes. So we'll see you guys next time in the charts, and you guys take care.